Right, hello Year 11. What I want to do is to start from the very beginning of term and basically, cover everything that we've covered so far. What we did was we started off with learning about infinitives and how that in French there are three types of infinitive. There are ER verbs, there are IR verbs, and there are RE verbs. Examples of these might be jouer, which is to play, finir, which is to finish, and vendre, which is to sell. I don't know why I did that. So, jouer, to play, finir, to finish, and vendre, to sell. And often it's this ending that gives you the idea of to. Infinitives are really useful, and you can start sentences with infinitives like manger est important. And that would translate as eating is important, and also to eat is important. You can use them with structures such as je voudrais nager, I would like to swim, remembering that the ER bit at the end is the to bit. Je vais, I'm going. Je vais lire, I'm going to read. Really useful, that one as well. But let's have a look at the present tense in French. And let's have a look at the conjugation of ER verbs. Before I start, don't forget that the present tense is translated into English as I eat, I am eating, and I do eat, for instance. So let's take jouer, to play. And let's have a look at how this will be conjugated into the present tense. So, what you need is, for each of the people, il, elle, on, nous, vous, il, and elle, what you need is the stem. What you aren't able to do is write je jouais using the full infinitive, because that would be I, to play. So what you do is you take off the ER ending and you add on the correct ending for that personal pronoun. So je joue, we add an E. Tu joues, ES. Il, elle, on joue, an E. Nous jouons, ONS, onto the stem, J-O-U. Place the stem again. Vous jouez, EZ, and J-O-U-E-N-T, silent E-N-T, il, elle joue. So you've got je joue, tu joues, il joue, elle joue, on joue, nous jouons, vous jouez, and il joue and elle joue. So the example is je joue means I play, I do play, I am playing. Let's very quickly look at finir and how to conjugate IR verbs or regular IR verbs. Je finis, IS. So that's the infinitive, finir. Knock off the IR, you're left with the stem, F-I-N. And for each, I'm just going to put il from now on. Nous, vous, and il. Each of these will start with the stem. So, IS, IS, IT, ISS, ONS, ISS, EZ, that's an E, ISS, ENT. Je finis, tu finis, il finit, nous finissons, vous finissez, ils finissent. I finish, I am finishing, I do finish. And finally, RE verbs, vendre, to sell. What do? Well, we knock off the RE bit, which gives us the to bit, and we're left with the stem, onto which we will add our endings. So, je vends, tu vends, il vend, nous vend, vous. So, S, nothing, ONS, EZ, ENT, just like ER verbs. So you've got je vends, tu vends, il vend, nous vendons, vous vendez, ils vendent. And that is the present tense. Easy enough. Let's move on to the past tense. So, to form the past tense in French, you need two things. You need, well, three things really. You need your personal pronoun, the je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il. You need the right bit of avoir, and you need a past participle. So, j'ai, tu as, il a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont. So that's the personal pronoun plus the right bit of avoir and then the past participle. Now, to form the past participle of ER verbs, what we do is we take off the ER and we add E acute. So that becomes jouer, pronounced like that. That is called a past participle. And what we do is we add the past participle onto the end of j'ai, tu as, il a, and it doesn't change regardless of who's saying it or who's doing it. So j'ai joué, I played, I have played, I did play. Tu as joué, you played, you have played, you did play. Il a joué, nous avons joué, vous avez joué, ils ont joué. And the common misconception there is that people will understand that if they want to translate things like I have played, but that also means I played. And the common mistake is that when people are writing I played, for instance, they will want to say je jouais, I played. That is wrong. You always need that bit of avoir. So j'ai joué means I played and I have played, and also I did play. And that, in comparison to the present tense, je joue, have a look at, there's no accent there whatsoever. So don't be just adding random accents onto things. J'ai joué, je joue. J'ai joué, je joue. I play, I am playing, I do play. I played, I have played, I did play. Easy peasy. For finir, for IR verbs, yeah, relatively straightforward. You knock off the IR and you add an I. So regardless of ER, IR, RE, you will just add them onto there. So j'ai fini, tu as fini, it's the same. Il a fini, nous avons fini, vous avez fini, ils ont fini. And then, vendre becomes vendu. So we knock off the RE and we add a U. Other common irregulars are lire, which is to read. Past participle is lu. J'ai lu, tu as lu, il a lu, nous avons lu, vous avez lu, ils ont lu, etc. Boire, to drink, becomes bu. Vouloir, to want, becomes vouloir. Other ones, ouvrir, to open, becomes ouvert. Faire is fait. So all you need to do in front of all of these past participles is add these. J'ai, tu as, il a. So, quick example. J'ai lu is I read, I have read, or I did read. Tu as lu, same. Il a lu, nous avons lu, etc., etc. Now, there are about 16 or 17 infinitives in French that if you need to conjugate them in the past tense, you don't conjugate them with avoir, you conjugate them with être, which is je suis in the present tense, by the way. Tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. There you go. So that's être conjugated into the present tense. So let's have a look at those past participles, those verbs that go with être to form the past tense. So common ones, we remember them, by the way, by the mnemonic Mrs. Van der Trump. So that's monter, which would be climbed, retourner, returned, sorti, went out, venu, came, aller, went, né, was born, devenu, became, entrer, entered, revenu, came back, tomber, fell, rentrer, have we got that one now? Rentrer, re-entered, arriver, arrived, mort, died, and parti, left. So with those verbs, and they're also called verbs of motion, with those verbs to form the past tense, and just that past tense, the passé composé, you need être. And there it is there. So let's put them together. Let's choose aller, because that's perhaps the most common one. So much like the past tense, and using avoir, the auxiliary avoir to form the past tense, we're going to write these out again. And we just add the past participle onto the end. Il est, aller. Now, I am going to write out elle, and the reason I am is because when you conjugate this tense, and when it's conjugated with être, which effectively is weak, you've got to make that past participle agree, whereas when it was conjugated with avoir, you didn't have to make the past participle agree. Nous sommes allés with an S. Vous êtes allés with the optional S. Ils sont allés with an S. And elles sont allées with an ES. That's because it's plural. That's they went, and that's they went, but females. Remember that if it's a mixed group, you're going to use the ILS. Okay, then quickly onto modals. Modals are super useful. So far, we've got the use of the infinitive, we've got present tense done, and also the past tense, that passé composé done. Just onto modals. There are 4 modal verbs in French, and we're going to focus just for the time being on the present tense. So, there's pouvoir, which is to be able to. There's devoir, which is to have to. There's falloir, which is to be necessary. And there's vouloir, which is to want. Let's look at pouvoir first. So, to conjugate pouvoir, it's really irregular. So this is what it is. It's je peux, tu peux, il, elle, on peut. Look at the spelling. They're pronounced the same, but the spelling is different. Nous pouvons, vous pouvez, and ils peuvent. Now, one feature, or the most important feature of modal verbs, is that each and every one of them are followed by, in the vast majority of cases, by the full infinitive. So, je peux voir, tu peux voir, il, elle, on peut voir, nous pouvons voir, vous pouvez voir, ils peuvent voir. And again, the voir doesn't change. It's this bit that changes. So, je peux voir, I can see. Tu peux voir, you can see. Il, elle, on peut voir. He, she, one can see. Nous pouvons voir, we can see. Vous pouvez voir, ils peuvent voir. You can see, they can see. Easy peasy. On to devoir. So, devoir meaning to have to, but when that's conjugated, it translates as je dois, I must. Tu dois, you must. Il, elle, on doit, D-O-I-T. He, she, one must. Nous devons, irregular there. In fact, they're all irregular. Vous devez. Ils doivent. And again, you add an infinitive onto the end. So let's choose a nice infinitive. Ajouter. So, tu dois ajouter, je dois ajouter, I must add. Tu dois ajouter, you must add. Il doit ajouter, he must add. Nous devons ajouter, we must add. Vous devez ajouter, you must add. And ils doivent ajouter, they must add. On to falloir. Now, falloir is really easy because you can only conjugate falloir with il because it means to be necessary. You can only ever really say it's necessary. And that is il faut. And after il faut, you add an infinitive. Il faut arrêter. It's necessary to stop. Et finalement, we've got vouloir, which is to want. Je veux. Tu veux. Il, elle, on veut. Nous voulons. Vous voulez. And ils veulent. Remember, you never pronounce that ENT. And again, you can add an infinitive onto the end of it. So, je veux manger, tu veux manger, etc. I want to eat, you want to eat, he wants, we want, you want, they want. By the way, just let me... So that's basically modals out of the way. But I just wanted to comment on the conditional tense. The conditional tense. And that's basically a tense which is translated into English as I would do something. So for instance, you already know je voudrais, which is an irregular example of the conditional tense. And that means I would like. There is also another way of saying I would like, and it's j'aimerais. I would like. I would like. And the easy thing about this tense is what you do is you get a full infinitive, détester for instance, and you put your personal pronoun in front of it, and you add the ending AIS for je. So je détesterais is I would hate. I would change would be, so full infinitive, je changerais. I would change. I would sing, je chanterais. And then another irregular, je deviendrai, I would become. So the endings are, let me just turn over. So let's have a look at the endings. Let's choose penser. So, one second. Je penserai, tu penserais, il penserait, IT, nous penserions, vous penseriez, il penserait. And hopefully that's straightforward. So that's I would think, you would think, he would think. We would think, you would think, they would think. Then just finally, what I'd like to do is just to remind you of those more complex sentences like la vache qui rit, the laughing cow. So des gens qui pensent, that's obviously translated as people who think. And it's ENT on the end because it's they think, okay? Des gens qui pensent. Another example, une personne qui pense is a person who thinks. But what you could do as well is you could say a person who thought, or a child who thought. Let's have a go at that. Un enfant qui, who thought, qui a pensé, because that's an E with an accent there, because don't forget that you need the correct bit of avoir to form that past tense. A woman who fell would be une femme qui. Now the past participle is tomber like that, isn't it? But because tomber is a verb of motion, van der Trump, we'll put an est there from être, and then we're going to add an e there. So une femme qui est tombée looks like a woman who is fallen, but it's not. It's une femme qui est tombée, a woman who has fallen. I know it looks weird, but that's just the way it's translated. And I think in general that's what we've learned so far in terms of grammar this year. Oh, should. Yeah, just to go back to the conditional and modals. And we want to use devoir to be able to say I should, you should, he should, we should, you should, they should. So this is how you do it. Je devrais, tu devrais, il devrait, nous devrions, vous devriez, il devrait. Okay, so je devrais, tu devrais, il devrait, nous devrions, vous devriez, il devrait. And because devoir, regardless of what tense it's in, is a modal, then what we do is we add an infinitive. So, je devrais coller, I should stick. Tu devrais coller, you should stick. Actually, it means to, no it doesn't. Il devrait coller, he should stick. Nous devrions coller, we should stick. Vous devriez coller, you should stick. And il devrait coller, they should stick. Hopefully that was relatively straightforward. Right, oui, c'est fini. Merci. Au revoir.